Welcome to Bubble Pop Magic, where stories come to life. Today's story is called My Friend is a Ghost. The town of Maple Hollow was nothing like the busy city Amara had come from. Here, the roads were quiet, lined with tall trees whose branches swayed gently in the wind. Houses sat far apart, each with wide yards, old fences, and an air of forgotten stories. Her parents had moved here after her dad got transferred. Amara didn't mind the calm, but sometimes it felt too quiet. As she turned a corner, she noticed a house she hadn't seen before, tall, with peeling paint and a big front yard. A rusty swing creaked under the weight of a girl about her age, gently swaying back and forth. The girl's white dress fluttered in the breeze, and her dark hair shimmered like glass under the afternoon sun. Their eyes met for a brief second. The girl on the swing smiled, a soft, almost sad smile. Amara wanted to stop, to say hi, but something held her back. She pedaled on. The next day at school, Amara told a few girls in her class about the house. "There's a girl there," she said. "She was on the swing." Her new friends looked at one another puzzled. "You must be mistaken," one of them said. "No one's lived in that house for years," another whispered. "It's been empty since forever." Amara laughed it off, pretending not to feel the chill that ran down her spine. A few days later came Halloween. The streets glowed orange and gold with lanterns and laughter. Amara and her new friends went door to door collecting candy until it was time to head home. The others turned down their streets one by one until Amara was alone again, her path lit only by the moon. And as fate would have it, she had to pass that house again. To her surprise, there were lights glowing faintly inside. Her heart pounded. Maybe I wasn't wrong after all, she thought. She walked up the creaky steps and pressed the doorbell. No answer. Just as she turned to leave, a gentle voice said, "Hello, how are you?" Amara spun around. It was the same girl from the swing, standing by the porch with a warm smile. She held a small basket filled with candies wrapped in shiny paper. "Trick or treat?" the girl asked sweetly. Amara smiled, feeling her fear melt away. She reached into the basket and took a few candies. "I'm Amara," she said softly. "What's your name?" The girl's eyes sparkled under the porch light. "Lila," she replied, still smiling. "I'm glad you stopped by." Amara smiled back, feeling something calm and familiar in Lila's voice. As she rode away, she glanced back. The swing was gently swaying again in the breeze, and the house looked peaceful, almost welcoming. She didn't know then that meeting Lila would change everything. The next morning, Amara woke up early. The town was still quiet, wrapped in fog, and the trees outside her window looked like tall shadows. She quickly got dressed and ran outside, hoping to meet Lila again. But Lila wasn't there. "Lila?" she called. No answer. Later at breakfast, Amara told her parents about the fun she had last night while trick-or-treating. Amara asked her mom, "Do you know a girl named Lila? She lives near the woods, I think." Her mom looked puzzled. "Lila?" she repeated. "Honey, I don't think anyone lives near the woods. That house has been empty for years." Amara froze. "But I was there yesterday for trick-or-treat and I met her." Her mom smiled kindly. "Maybe you imagined it. Moving to a new place can be lonely." Amara didn't argue, but she knew she wasn't imagining things. She had talked to Lila. They had played. That evening, she went back again. The air was colder, and the wind whispered through the trees. The old house near the woods looked darker now. Amara stepped closer. The front gate creaked open on its own. Inside, the air smelled of dust and old wood. On the table lay a faded photograph, a girl with bright eyes and long hair. Amara's heart skipped a beat. She turned slowly, and there was Leela, standing by the doorway, smiling softly. "I'm sorry," Leela whispered. "I didn't mean to scare you. I just don't have many friends anymore." The lights flickered. The wind howled. And that's when Amara realized her friend Leela wasn't from this world. Amara wanted to run when she saw Leela glowing faintly in the dark hallway, but something in her eyes stopped her. They weren't scary. They were sad. "Please don't be afraid," Leela said softly. "I didn't mean to keep it from you." Amara's voice trembled. "You're a ghost?" Leela looked down. "Yes, I think so. I didn't understand it at first. I just knew I was still here, waiting." The next morning, Amara returned. To her surprise, Leela was sitting by the swing, smiling like nothing had changed. They spent the next few days together, walking through the woods, making crowns from wildflowers, and telling each other stories. Leela showed Amara her favorite spots, the old bridge, the pond where fireflies danced at night, and the big oak tree where she used to climb. Sometimes, when Leela laughed, the air around her shimmered with tiny sparks of light. It felt magical, like the world was happy to see her smile again. But every day, her glow grew a little dimmer. One evening, as the sky turned pink and gold, Amara finally asked, "Leela, what really happened to you?" Lila's smile faded. She looked toward the woods, her voice soft as the wind. "There was a storm. The biggest one our town ever had." She paused, her eyes distant. "I was playing outside, right under that old oak tree. My parents told me to come in, but I wanted to swing one last time." Amara listened silently. "The lightning struck the tree," Lila whispered. "I remember the flash, the sound, and then everything went quiet. When I woke up, I was here. But my house was empty." Tears filled Amara's eyes. "That's awful." Lila nodded, her voice breaking. "I waited for them for so long. I didn't know I was gone. I just wanted someone to talk to." And then Amara reached out her hand. "You found me." Leela smiled through her tears. "Yes, and you helped me remember what it felt like to be alive." The air around them grew warmer, golden light swirling through the trees. The wind carried a soft hum, like a lullaby. "I think it's time for me to go," Leela said gently. "My parents are waiting." Amara held back tears. "Will I ever see you again?" Leela's smile glowed brighter. "Whenever you see fireflies, think of me." The light around her grew stronger until Amara had to close her eyes. When she opened them, Leela was gone. Only the swing moved gently in the breeze. The next morning, Amara found a small white flower blooming where Leela had stood. It shimmered faintly in the sunlight. She smiled and whispered, "Goodbye, my friend." Some friendships never end. They just shine from a different world. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe